Hello, fellow citizens. So, Metaverse is George from Blockchain DXB, and you're listening to the Metaverse Everything podcast. Now, listen, guys, since the last 48 hours, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have gone up and have gone down as well. If you do want to find out the details of what has happened, what I'd really recommend you to do is listen to my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast for the 15th and 16th. Because what happened in Wednesday, the Congressional Board Office did actually state that the US debt ceiling might be reaching a new all-time high somewhere between July of this year, and there is a very high possibility that it will have a catastrophic impact not just in cryptocurrencies but in the entire fintech sector as well. And what kind of an impact will that have on Metaverse protocols? So when we start today's Metaverse Everything podcast, I'll be discussing the process of cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse. Now look, guys, it is possible that towards July or towards the second half of this year, the process of cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse will significantly be impacted. So we're going to kickstart by looking at the prices, after which we're going to be discussing the World Government Summit. Now, the World Government Summit did take place in Dubai between the 13th and the 15th of this month, and Elon Musk, he was supposed to be at the event as well, but unfortunately he did have a virtual session. Now, at that virtual session, he did not talk about Metaverse as such, rather he talked about social media, education, artificial intelligence, and his hectic work schedule. Now, I was really hoping that he does talk something about Dogecoin, but unfortunately he did not. So in today's episode, we're going to be discussing Metaverse related things that were discussed at the World Government Summit. And at the World Government Summit, they did release a report to unlock the vast potential of Web 3.0. And the report is called as Governing the Metaverse. So we'll definitely go ahead and explore that in today's episode. And His Highness Sheikh Hamdan did meet with Meta's President for Global Affairs. So we'll definitely go ahead and look at what does that mean for Dubai so far as Metaverse is concerned. And PwC, they did release 2 papers at the World Government Summit as well. Now, I'm only going to be talking about the report that deals with Metaverse, and the report is called as Labor Policies for a Digital Workforce, the Challenges of the Metaverse. And Sharjah is definitely getting into Metaverse. And at the World Government Summit, the Sharjah Chambers of Commerce did release news about a scientific symposium in Metaverse, and looks like they're definitely getting the employees trained in Metaverse. So we'll definitely go ahead and explore that in today's episode. And like we cover in every Metaverse Everything podcast, we'll be looking at the top 5 Metaverse news from around the world and top 5 Metaverse news from Dubai and UAE. And look, guys, one big question I'd like to ask: in the next 2 years or so, do you think Dubai will be the leader so far as Metaverse is concerned, or will it be Saudi Arabia who would be the leader in the Metaverse? What are your thoughts? Mention them in the comments below. Now let's kickstart today's episode. Welcome to Metaverse Everything, the ultimate destination for virtual and augmented reality enthusiasts. The Metaverse is a vast and expanding universe of possibility, and in our show we aim to bring you coverage of every aspect of this exciting new frontier. From gaming and entertainment to socializing and work, the Metaverse is changing the way we live and interact with each other. Each week, we will bring you expert guests who will discuss the latest trends and technologies in the augmented and virtual reality industry and offer practical tips for getting the most out of your Metaverse experience. We'll also explore the social and cultural implication of this rapidly evolving realm and how it's changing the way we communicate and connect with each other. Plus, we'll keep you up to date on the latest Metaverse news from around the world and Dubai and the UAE. Whether you are a seasoned augmented reality or virtual reality enthusiast, or just getting started, Metaverse Everything has something for you. Join us as we journey into the Metaverse and discover all it has to offer. From the latest games and apps to the most cutting-edge hardware and software, we'll bring you the inside scoop on everything you need to know to fully immerse yourself in this exciting new world. So tune in and join us on a journey into the Metaverse. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or new to the world of augmented reality and virtual reality, the Metaverse is something for everyone, and we can't wait to share it with you on Metaverse Everything. Now, guys, since you've taken care of that, let's look at the cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse. As of today, 17th of February, the cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse, if you look at the market cap, it is at $15.3 billion. Now, in comparison to last week, it has definitely gone up by $1 billion. Now listen, guys, since the last 48 hours, there has been drastic movement in the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Unfortunately for Metaverse, the market is not looking green, and the 24-hour trading volume is at $3.2 billion and looks like a lot of selling is going on. If you look at the prices of ApeCoin, it is $5.23. Since the last 24 hours, it is down by 8.04%. Since the last 7 days, though, it is up by 2.88%. Decentraland or Mana is at 68 cents. It is down by 7.77%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 1.31%. The Sandbox or Sand is at 72 cents. Since the last 24 hours, it is down by 5.80%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 0.05%. Now look guys, in the month of January and February, Decentraland and Sandbox had a phenomenal 2 months. As a matter of fact, Decentraland was up by over 150% and Sandbox was up by over 90%. Now since the last 48 hours though, they have definitely fallen down in prices. And look guys, what's going to happen is, in the month of July, there is a very high possibility when the US Congressional Board Office decides to either suspend the US debt ceiling or raise the debt ceiling, is going to have a catastrophic impact, not just on cryptocurrencies, not just on Metaverse, but for the entire fintech system as well. So definitely keep an eye on what is going on so far as the US debt is concerned, because directly or indirectly, it's definitely going to affect investments pooling into Metaverse. Now, if you look at the prices, Axie Infinity or AXS is at $10.23. Since the last 24 hours, it is down by 5.70%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 0.02%. Theta Network or Theta is at $1.14. Since the last 24 hours, it is down by 2.74%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 9.14%. And look guys, over the weekend, there is a very high possibility that the prices might be going down further as well. Now, if you have any thoughts and opinions regarding the prices, if there is a possibility for it to pump up, mention your thoughts and comments in the comment sections below. Now guys, let's talk about World Government Summit. The phenomenal event did take place in Dubai between the 13th and 15th of February, and they did release a report which is called as Governing the Metaverse, and the report unlocks the vast potential of Web3 potential. Now this World Government Summit event took place at an iconic location at Medina Jumeirah. So what the report essentially states is that the Metaverse presents significant opportunities in fields like energy, healthcare, manufacturing and education, and the report proposes policy recommendations to drive sustainable governance and investment solutions in virtual or augmented reality environments, and governments and regulators need to develop standards for multi-source data and legislations to address the non-centralized nature of the metaverse across the Web3 technologies. And I'm going to be talking about the importance of standards in a little bit. And the report also states that the metaverse can reduce cost and facilitate access in the domains of food, housing, healthcare, and education, leading to long-term benefits. So I would definitely recommend you guys to go ahead and read through the report, because the report suggests that government actors can begin by focusing on 4 core areas, that is standards. Now, although Metaverse, guys, is at an early stage, the party leading the development of Metaverse standards is the industry itself, and governments can actually play a massive role in ensuring that these standards allow for maximum participation. And look guys, I do have an interview with Victor Modino, who spoke on behalf of the Metaverse Standards Forum, and in that episode, we discussed the importance of standardization, so I will definitely go ahead and check it out. But because of standardization, it does have an impact on interoperability as well. So let's say if you have a standard for a 3D image, it is possible because of the standardization to have interoperability. That means you can use it across different protocols as well. So definitely go ahead and listen to that episode. And the second recommendation in that report is regarding laws and regulations, and the report suggests introducing appropriate laws and regulations for user and data protection, and it will be vital towards encouraging participation and investment in Metaverse for consumers and industry players. The Lucas rules and regulations are so critical, and in my Metaverse Everything podcast, I did talk about the Interpol getting into Metaverse, and we were discussing how policing in the Metaverse would work. And the third point the report mentions is policies and incentives, and governments across the world should consider where policy mechanisms and incentives are needed to drive development and adoption of Metaverse. And guys, in my Metaverse Everything podcast, I did talk about what Saudi Arabia is doing. They are attracting international giants into Saudi Arabia. Now it's so critical that policies and incentives do support adoption and innovation, particularly in the Metaverse field. And the report also talks that there are different governments that are taking place, and Dubai and UAE, they already have set up VARA, which is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, that does provide phenomenal support, clarity which is definitely needed, particularly when you talk about policies. So governments all across the world need to frame policies that incentivizes institutions and high-tech companies to move towards their region. And the fourth point that they mention is infrastructure. Now, the report does actually accept that Metaverse is still not ready and the necessary infrastructure at the moment does not exist. But what that report states is that the governments do have a role to support infrastructure development through subsidies, incentive programs, and quite a lot of other. Now, look, guys, Saudi Arabia definitely invited Meta, and they are starting a Metaverse Academy in Saudi Arabia. Apart from that, Amazon, they have also set up an academy. Now, all these things done by the government will definitely play a crucial role in building the Metaverse industry. So I would definitely recommend to go ahead and read through that report. Loads of useful information. Now, at the World Government Summit, guys, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum and Nick Clegg, who's the president for Global Affairs, met at the event, and they discussed the potential for Meta to collaborate with Dubai in becoming a global leader in technology and digital industries. And look, guys, one of the visions of Sheikh Hamdan is for Dubai to be the top 10 city in the world so far as Metaverse is concerned, and they've already launched Dubai Metaverse strategy, and they had a phenomenal event last year at the Museum of the Future called as the Dubai Metaverse Assembly and quite a lot of other. And at the World Government Summit, they talked about the importance of partnership with global technology majors to accelerate Dubai's transformation into a leading destination for technology and digital industry talent. And Meta's new regional headquarters in Dubai Internet City will enable the company to better serve the region's growing user base. Now listen, guys, Dubai aims to generate $100 billion annually from digital transformation, and Meta's support is extremely critical for this goal. And Dubai Metaverse strategy envisions Dubai one of the world's top 10 metaverse economies by 2030. Now look, guys, keeping all these things in mind, partnership with companies like Meta will be critical in achieving this goal. And the meeting focused on how Meta can support Dubai's transformation into a global leader in technology and digital industries as part of the Dubai Economic Agenda D33. Now, the agenda aims to accelerate investments in advanced technology and establish a knowledge-based economy, and Meta's recent opening of its regional headquarters in Dubai Internet City is seen as a positive step in this direction. So look, guys, Dubai is definitely taking its steps in being the world leader in Metaverse, but you also need to remember that Saudi Arabia is definitely making a move in the Metaverse industry as well. Now, it is possible that if United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia merges rather than competes, it could be possible that Middle East could be the leader in the Metaverse. What are your thoughts, guys? Mention them in the comments below. Now, guys, let's discuss PwC Middle East and their involvement at World Government Summit. Now, PwC Middle East did reinforce its commitments towards supporting the future of governments, and they did release 2 reports, and one of them had to do with the future of well-being. Now, I won't go into detail on that because it has nothing to do with Metaverse, but I would definitely recommend you to read it because it does talk about some really important things, particularly to do with GCC and the general shortage of qualified mental health professionals across the GCC. Now, look, guys, if you're someone who's working in the HR sector, I would definitely recommend you to read that report. Now, so far as Metaverse is concerned, they did publish a report called as Labor Policies for a Digital Workforce, and they discuss the challenges of the Metaverse. So what that report essentially talks is that policymakers must act now to prepare for Metaverse governance and ensure citizen safety. And the report also suggests that policymakers should learn from non-traditional actors and collaborate with all stakeholders. And so far as the Metaverse governance is concerned, they strongly recommend that the framework must be robust, transparent, and future-proof while remaining fluid and proactive to adapt to Metaverse's evolution and challenges. And to be honest, guys, the report is very small. I would definitely recommend you to read it. Now, what that report definitely recommends, in order to achieve Metaverse readiness, that governments must consider human resource capabilities both inside the administrative arms of government and in the economy at large. They need to focus on reform and reform the regulatory agenda, as new reforms of interactions create challenges in terms of security, privacy, and safety, not only for employees but for all citizens. And finally, the report talks about that you need to review the understanding of emerging technologies, as the 2-dimensional internet gives way to 3-dimensional metaverse, and quite a lot more. So I would definitely recommend to read through it. That look, as PwC has been an active partner of the World Government Summit since a very long time, and them publishing this report definitely helps the governments as well as the employees and the general metaverse ecosystem as well. The third news, guys, I'd like to talk about is Sharjah, and Sharjah is definitely taking some moves. So far as metaverse is concerned, and at the World Government Summit, Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry hosted a scientific symposium on metaverse, and the event aimed to assess Sharjah Chamber of Commerce Industry's institutional readiness to adapt to the metaverse technology. Now, this session was hosted by Sharjah Training and Development Center. So the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry organized a symposium on metaverse to educate its officials and employees about the potential impact of technology in the UAE. And the event aimed to assess Sharjah Chamber of Commerce Industry's readiness to adapt to metaverse technology and explore its use in enhancing services for the business community. And the metaverse technology and its application in the UAE were presented by RD Corner's General Manager and Business Development and Project Managers. And the symposium emphasized the need for the chamber to stay ahead of the curve in the digital economy. Now, Lucas is so great that the government is taking initiative in educating its employees and staff in the metaverse. And in the past, I did mention where Sharjah's government did release NFTs for recognizing efforts by its employees. So definitely brilliant stuff. Now, the event was attended by SACI official or Sharjah Chamber of Commerce Industry officials, including the chairman of the chamber and its board members, and the discussion covered distinctions between augmented reality, mixed reality, extended reality, virtual reality technologies, and the country's initiative to cultivate opportunities in this promising sector. And a few weeks ago, guys, in my Metaverse Everything podcast, I did talk about an event which was conducted by Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park, and the event had to do with Metaverse. Now listen, guys, if you're a startup or a business entity working in the Metaverse, I think you should contact Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park and probably have a session explaining your product and what is it that you're trying to do in order to build a metaverse. And I'm pretty much sure they'll be more than happy to accommodate you and your business project as long as the people of UAE are benefited so far as information regarding metaverse is concerned. So guys, those were the news regarding the World Government Summit and its role in the metaverse. Now if you go to the website, what I did is I looked at the agenda, and in the search option I did type cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, I couldn't find absolutely anything at all. When I typed fintech, I found quite a lot of events. When I typed blockchain technology, I couldn't find absolutely any event as well. But in the search option, when I typed metaverse, I could find one event which took place on the 15th of Feb, and the event was called as Mapping the Next Frontier of Government Services. And looks like at that event is where they discussed governing the metaverse report and quite a lot of other. Now guys, let's discuss top 5 metaverse news from around the world, and we're going to be talking about news from Spain, South Korea and Saudi Arabia. And we're also going to be talking about Microsoft and how metaverse is working in the Royal Navy in the UK as well. Now let's kick start by Spain. It looks like Spain is definitely slow in the metaverse, and a report which is published states that only 4% of the companies in Spain have managed to apply the metaverse to the operations. And according to a survey conducted by ISDI, a national business school, 40% of the business managers surveyed have admitted that it is difficult for them to bring parts of the business to the metaverse in a significant way. Now, part of me kind of agrees to it, because when I read through reports all across the world of companies getting into the metaverse, believe it or not, guys, 80 to 90% have absolutely nothing to do with metaverse. They're just tagging the word metaverse in order to get extra funding. Now, I'm pretty much sure that as years go by, Spain would definitely be getting into the metaverse. Now, it is a bit surprising that banking industry were one of the leaders to opt into the metaverse. I still can't figure out how would banking work in the metaverse. Now, it's so critical to truly understand when you talk about your business getting into the metaverse, there needs to be a 10x improvement from current existing systems. Just switching your existing business into the metaverse will definitely not cut it. So part of me does actually agree to business managers that have openly admitted that it is difficult for them to be part of the metaverse. So it looks like they're definitely understanding what the metaverse is, despite only 4% of them are moving into metaverse. Now let's discuss about South Korea. Now South Korea is definitely taking leaps and heads so far as metaverse is concerned, and they have committed more than $173 million to the development of metaverse industry, and the funds will go towards building Metaverse labs, academics, and graduate schools, among other things. And the country will also focus on artificial intelligence and extended reality this year. Now, look, us, if you're into K-pop, Blackpink, they did receive an award by arranging an event in the Metaverse. Now, K-pop merging into Metaverse will definitely boost adoption of Metaverse. Now, guys, let's move on to news from Microsoft. Now, Microsoft looks like they're shutting down the operations so far as Metaverse is concerned, and the report states that Microsoft is reportedly shutting down the industrial Metaverse-focused group, and the company terminated its entire division so far as Metaverse is concerned. So, it looks like Microsoft did have a Metaverse core group which catered only to industrial Metaverse. Unfortunately, 100 employees were made redundant, and this was part of the 10,000 person layoff rounds which was announced earlier in January. Now, that thing being said, guys, Microsoft is definitely looking into industrial Metaverse at a long-term horizon. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, as in when the economy gets better, Microsoft will definitely be getting into the industrial Metaverse. Now, recently, they are heavily invested in ChatGPT as well. And look, guys, Microsoft is an absolute giant. And if you listen to the interviews, I definitely do think that Microsoft will definitely be a strong player in the Metaverse. Now, I was watching one of the interviews of the CEO of Microsoft. He did say a very valid point regarding blockchain technology. He did state that blockchain does require a ChatGPT moment. Now, I 100% agree, guys. It could be possible that blockchain, so far as investment is concerned, is pulling in a lot of money. But if you look at the use case, we are still lacking behind. Now, guys, let's talk about some news regarding the Royal Navy. And the Royal Navy is embracing virtual reality to train sailors of tomorrow in cutting-edge new navigation simulators. So, looks like Metaverse is definitely helping so far as training is concerned. And sailors will don headsets to take them into a naval Metaverse, immersing them in key and sometimes dangerous maneuvers and trainings, all from the safety of a naval base. Now, this reminds me, guys, of a movie which I saw in Netflix called as Jung A. I would really recommend you guys to go ahead and watch it because it is about a soldier who passed away a couple of years ago, but they somehow managed to capture the brain cells and they're able to recreate that soldier, but the soldier is fighting in the Metaverse. So what they're trying to do is the war that they had lost, they're trying to replicate that scenario, but they're doing into Metaverse. So it looks like movies are slowly getting into Metaverse as well. And I wouldn't be surprised, guys, in the next few years, probably 3 to 5 years down the line, there would be movies only catered in the Metaverse. Now, guys, let's discuss some news regarding Saudi Arabia. Now, look, guys, in my last week's podcast, I did talk about only Saudi Arabia and what is Saudi Arabia doing in the Metaverse. So definitely check it out. So the news is that the third edition of the King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture's Creative Solution Initiative aims to enter the Metaverse with its immersive digital technologies. And listen to this, guys. Each project is required to develop and deploy an immersive component by using virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, haptics, or immersive audios. And look, guys, I very strongly feel that in the next 3 to 5 years down the line, Saudi Arabia might just be a world leader in the Metaverse, and they also have Vision 2030. So I wouldn't be surprised if Saudi Arabia is the leader in the Metaverse by 2030. And at the Vision 2030 event, they actually expect 1 billion Metaverse visitors. So what are your thoughts regarding Saudi Arabia? Mention them in the comments below. Now, guys, let's discuss top 5 Metaverse news from Dubai and UAE. And a massive news that is going on in Dubai is about Mall of the Metaverse. And Majid Al Futtaim did actually announce that the first shopping center called as the Mall of the Metaverse, which is kind of a mall inside the Metaverse. So the Mall of the Metaverse inside the mall will be available pretty soon, and customers will be able to use avatars and will be able to find Carrefour, Walk Cinemas, That Concept Store, Gawali, Samsung, and quite a lot of other. And this announcement was made at the World Government Summit. As of now, the mall is still at an initial phase of development as the group looks closely at customer needs and expectation. And inside the mall, guys, customers will be able to access all those things which are most likely available in pretty much all the worlds. And what is really cool is the name is going to be called as Mall of the Metaverse. Now, I do believe that Mall of the Emirates is the biggest mall in the world, but Mall of the Metaverse sounds like a really cool name. Now, the next news is about an event that took place on the 6th of February, and it was called as Tech Gogo Forum. Now, looks like this event was organized by Gogo Pay, and it held its third forum in Dubai, and this time the theme was Enterprise Metaverse, and at the session they were enabling business growth opportunities and quite a lot of other, and the event took place at an iconic location of one and only Royal Mirage. Now look guys, if you're into Instagram, you definitely need to check out one and only Royal. All of the celebrities, sports people, and so-called influencers are often seen taking pictures and posting stories from one and only Royal Mirage, so definitely a really cool place. The third news, guys, is something which I discussed in my Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast, and this is about food getting into Metaverse. So the project is called as Food Wars, and the company behind it is called as One Rare. And guys, in my Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast, I did talk about it being the world's first food wars, and One Rare is on a mission to fortify the blockchain and bring the global food industry to the Web3 for the first time. So check out the episode that was released on the 16th of February. So definitely cool stuff. And One Rare is the food metaverse for Food Wars has officially been launched in the UAE, and users can explore an open world with various geographical areas such as the beach, forest and lakeside, and they're also going to be having an exclusive gaming zone with activities for areas to play, explore, collect and battle and quite a lot of other. And they also have NFTs, and users can claim dish NFTs by collecting ingredients and recipes to mint exclusive NFT artworks and quite a lot of other. So check out my episode that I released on the 16th of February. Now most likely I'll try to interview the team members from One Rare as well. Now the fourth news, guys, is about a company offering Metaverse as a service called as Sharjah, and Sharjah has entered the UAE market by unveiling its revolutionary platform ready to transform how organizations engage with the customers and stakeholders. And by using innovative technologies such as 3D technologies, Sharjah is introducing the next era of virtual experiences where users can interact and collaborate in digital assets in real time. So check out Sharjah if you're in need for Metaverse as a service, because they have officially been launched in the UAE. And the fifth news, guys, is something which I mentioned earlier about His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Crown Prince of Dubai, who met with Clegg, the President of Global Affairs. And look, guys, it is possible that there might be some partnership news which will be released in the next few days, and it could be possible that in the near future, Dubai will be the top 10 city in the world so far as Metaverse is concerned. But what are your thoughts? Mention them in the comments below. So those were the news, guys, on the Metaverse Everything podcast on Blockchain DXP. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxp.com and info@area2071.com. You can also check out my website, area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse, and also check out my other website, blockchaindxp.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover job news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes on the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And Monday to Thursdays, guys, I do have an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And what you're listening to right now is the Metaverse Everything podcast, which is a research-driven podcast focusing on educational and informational content about Metaverse and its impact. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a brilliant weekend ahead. Bye-bye.